Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Andrew Bottom. I am the Associate Director for the Global Internship Program here at UCLA, and I'm with some of my colleagues from Public Affairs. I'll have them introduce themselves.
Hi, everybody. My name is Frank Flynn. My pronouns are he and his. I am the capstone advisor and coordinator over at the Luskin School of Public Affairs undergraduate program, and I'll toss it over to my colleague, Emily.
Hi everyone, my name is Emily. I am the academic advisor for all of our Luskin minors. So for the public affairs minor, the gerontology minor, and the urban and regional studies minor. And my pronouns are she, they. And I'll give it back to Andrew.
All right, thank you both. So today we're going to discuss a little bit about the UCLA Global Internship Program, specifically for public affairs majors and minors. So we'll talk about why you might want to consider interning abroad, discuss the different locations and an overview of the program as a whole. We'll go more specifically into the actual application, selection, and placement process, funding opportunities, as well as highlighting some upcoming location-specific info sessions. We have sessions for every location that we are hosting programs this summer. And then we'll have some time at the very end for some Q&A. So if you have questions you don't want to forget, you can throw them in the chat, but we will answer those live at the very end. So the first question you're probably wondering is why you might consider interning abroad. There's a lot of opportunities locally to intern as well. I think a lot of our students, it's just a great opportunity to gain a competitive advantage in the job market, specifically the international job market. A lot of, jobs are now global, working with global teams, whether it's, locally or whether you're abroad itself in your industry. I think a lot of students come back with just a lot of real world experience within their particular industry. It might be your first opportunity to have a job experience working in public affairs, and so it's a great opportunity to do that while you're at UCLA before you head out after you graduate and have something on your resume and have some of those transferable skills. Strengthens a lot of your communication, team building, adaptability skills, specifically working in a new environment in a new country. Oftentimes your supervisor will speak English, but doesn't mean your whole team necessarily will. So being able to find ways to communicate with one another will, of course, be an adventure. Global networking, both with your cohort and your colleagues, as well as making academic progress. So we'll talk a little bit about the academics of the program in a little bit. So a little general overview of the Global Internship Program, or GIP. So for public affairs students, we currently have 8 different opportunities, which include opportunities in Bali, Berlin, Bogota, Buenos Aires, Cape Town, Prague, Singapore, and virtual opportunities. Every location is going to have different career sectors kind of emphasize of what's available. So not in every location are all career sectors available, but such things that you might focus on during your internship would be working with advocacy groups, human rights, social justice, government agencies, law, NGOs and nonprofits, sustainability policy, social work, and urban planning. Please note that, as I was mentioning, in all cases, you are guaranteed a English-speaking supervisor. We do have some specific placements, let's say in Bogota and Buenos Aires, where if you want to interact with the community, they will require that you have a basic level of Spanish-speaking skills. But even if you don't, you still, can still work at a job site in those locations without any Spanish skills required. The program as a whole will occur in the summer. It is 10 weeks and occurs during summer session A10. So it includes 8 weeks of internship and 10 weeks of coursework. So your internship will start right around the beginning of summer session A10, and then your coursework will follow exactly that 10-week schedule. While you are on the program, you will be taking between 4 and 8 units. So we have 2 courses we'll talk about in a second that are available to take. If you are interested in applying for financial aid, you will need to take both courses so that you have the minimum number of units to be eligible. These are academic internships, so they are unpaid. And again, both in-country and virtual opportunities. When you are interning, if you're interning abroad in one of our 7 locations abroad, you will intern approximately 4 days per week, 32 hours. Your hours, depend on your actual company, but you won't go over 32 hours per week. And then if you are interning virtually, usually it's a little more flexible, about 20 to 30 hours per week, depending on where you are placed. The eligibility criteria is you must be a public affairs major or minor. If you are a pre-major, pre-minor, something also to reach out to Frank or Emily to discuss a little bit just about eligibility, because you could be on track by spring, but something to note, having a 3.0 GPA, 90 units by spring 2024. So even if you're applying in the fall, just knowing that you're on track to hit those 90 when you apply, and then good academic standing. The coursework itself, there's 2 courses that we offer, Public Affairs 195 CE, which is the mandatory course, and CESC 130, which is optional, but it focuses on intercultural communication in the global workplace. And I'll throw it over to Frank and Emily to discuss a little bit more about this coursework and how it might apply to your major or minor.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. So I'll go ahead and go first and talk about for the majors. So for public affairs majors, you can utilize the Global Internship Program to satisfy the first quarter of your capstone experience during your 4th year. And so with that, you would take Public Affairs 195 CE, and that would be petitioned to be applied towards Public Affairs 187 AX. If you choose to take the optional course of CESC 130, you can also petition that course to satisfy one of your public affairs upper division major electives. For students who are going to go through the capstone process this upcoming year, we'll talk more in depth about this starting next week at the capstone information session. But if you are a 1st or 2nd year who's interested in this opportunity, definitely schedule an appointment to meet with me, and I'm more than happy to talk with you about what your options are and how that'll apply into your long-term program plan. And I'll pass it over to Emily to talk about how this applies to the minors.
All right. So similarly to the major, you can petition either of these courses to count for the public affairs minor. I will say that you can actually only have one non-Luskin course. So just keep that in mind, that count towards your minor. But you're welcome to petition these courses. I do want to note you will also have to make sure that you're taking these courses for a letter grade. We don't accept pass, no pass grades for the minor, but if you're interested in learning more about how you can possibly substitute these, schedule an appointment with me via Message Center. I'd be happy to chat and we can go over the petition process.
Awesome. Thank you both. And just to know how the courses work as well, they're asynchronous. So for the internship course 195 CE, we'll have a TA on site in Los Angeles. They'll be working with you to schedule biweekly meetings. You'll have a final research paper that you work with them on the final research topic. CSC 130 is a little bit more similar to what you might see as an online course, where you'll actually have biweekly meetings as well, but you will have kind of a course site where you're going to be visiting, the readings. You'll be interacting with students in different locations around the globe on the Global Internship Program. So in both cases, they're asynchronous and hopefully are there to supplement kind of that experience of being abroad on the Global Internship Program. All right, let's talk a little bit about the application selection and placement process. So to do that, this video does it better than I do. So I'm going to show a short 1 to 2 minute video about the placement process and timeline, and then we'll discuss a little more in depth once it's done.
The UCLA Global
Sound working?
Internship Program. Placement process and timeline. The Global Internship Program offers UCLA students the opportunity to gain a competitive edge in the job market with an 8-week international summer internship. Students receive direct UCLA credit and secure an internship based on their academic, professional, and personal goals. After an application is submitted, the student will interview with our program partners in the host country to assess their qualifications, experience, goals, and discuss possible internship placements. In January, after an extensive review, students are notified of their application status. If accepted, they must submit a non-refundable $300 deposit to secure their spot on the program. In February, students must pay the full program fee or submit a financial aid agreement form. This payment is used to finalize and secure all program logistics, such as housing. This is also the last chance to withdraw from the program without any additional financial penalty. Starting in April and moving into early June, the internship placement process will occur. Our program partners will arrange interviews with local organizations and companies based on each student's individual goals. Students will interview with one host company at a time. Ongoing interviews will continue with prospective internship site managers until there is a match between both the student and the host company. We guarantee all students an international internship placement. Visit ieo.ucla.edu/global internships to view our programs, dates and deadlines, funding resources, and more.
So we have limited graphics with the video, but hopefully it gives a general overview of the process and timeline, and we'll go a little bit more in depth on that right now. First thing I want to note is this year we actually have a sample internship placement guide that's available on the various web pages for public affairs. So you can kind of see what some past students have done in different locations. This is not an exhaustive list, so please note that there are more opportunities than what is listed, but just to give you an idea of what you might consider being good opportunities for yourself, whether you see something that you want to repeat that a past student has done, or whether you're like, oh, I want something similar to this. And so when you're doing that advising call, having kind of this background might be helpful. Again, there are more opportunities than what is listed here. This just is to give you an idea, because I think that's the number one question we get is what is possible to do in these different locations in terms of your internship placement. How to apply. So as we talked about, there's a couple of documents that you'll want to complete in order to complete your application. The application itself is very quick. We have a new application system this year that actually you can complete the kind of biographical information in probably under the 10 minutes. But there is 2 documents that you'll want to submit with that. So one is your resume, so taking time to make sure it's up to date, spell checked, grammar checked, that it looks very nice. This is what's going to be potentially sent out to the internship managers that will be interviewing you. So oftentimes there may be an opportunity to update your resume if you're accepted into the program in like February if you have a new experience. But I would just tell you now to consider it being the resume you're sending out to potential internship site managers. There also is a statement of purpose that you'll need to fill out. So this is a 1-page document where you talk a little bit about yourself, your location of interest, why you want to intern there, the career goals, any sort of specific, experience or skills that make you a good candidate for the program. This document is available in the application. You can save your application while you're in process. So if you're not, done writing about your statement of purpose when you start applying, you can start your application, write your statement of purpose, and then submit. All of the information about the questions for the statement of purpose are on each program webpage. So whether you're applying for Bali, Bogota, Buenos Aires, you'll see information about these documents there so you can prepare in advance. The application is currently open for the program. It will close on November 27th, and so you can apply anytime. All applications are treated equally as long as you apply by the deadline. Just note that I highly encourage you, if you're interested in applying, to do it sooner than later. 90% of students love waiting till the last day and applying on the 27th, which means that we have a lot of student applications to sift through and then to subsequently do the advising meetings. And so that can often means doing the advising meeting during 10th week, finals week, or your vacation in December. So if you're wanting to get that advising, I guess I should say interview out of the way with our on-site partners, I would suggest applying sooner than later. So that way you could do it at any time after you apply. That if you apply today, you might do that advising session, during the month of November, which might be a little bit better for your academic schedule. Program funding options. So every program is going to have a different budget depending on the location you're going. You won't pay UCLA fee specifically. You'll pay UCLA tuition for summer sessions, but that also on your program fee includes your housing of where you're going, health insurance. We'll have estimated costs for what your meals and incidentals might be, what transportation might be in that location, what your plane flight might be. So on your program webpage, you'll see a budget breakdown. But just note that there are ways to fund your experience abroad. So you can still apply for financial aid as long as you take those 2 courses for 8 units. So you want to make sure that you're filling out your FAFSA or DREAM Act for 24-25 by the priority deadline, which is in March. There's a subsequent financial aid form that will have you fill out the Global Internship Program. It's very quick. That's what you would fill out by middle of February to solidify your enrollment in the program if you're planning to use financial aid. And again, financial aid will look at the entire budget. So both the program fee as well as the estimated cost to package you. I do like to be open and honest with students that in the summer, there is less grant funding available. That's across the board, even during doing summer sessions on campus. So just know that you might have a larger loan component than you're used to. So we always encourage students, because of that, to apply for scholarships. So there are various scholarships available. The great thing about these scholarships is a lot of them have a very small pool of applicants. So the first one, the UCLA Global Internship Scholarship, is only students applying for financial aid going on a global internship program. So Great opportunity. There's a CCE internship scholarship. Any student who is taking a 195 CE course during the summer is up to $5,000. There's also the Congresswoman Lynn Shank Capstone Scholarship for those majors who are applying for $1,000. There is the European Undergraduate Studies Scholarship for $2,500 if you're going to Europe on your program. The Wang Middle Income Scholarship for $2,000. And then if you're a Pell Grant recipient, highly encourage you to apply for the Benjamin A. Gilman Scholarship, up to $5,000. It is a national scholarship. And that scholarship, I think it's about a 25% success rate for students who do apply nationwide. But usually students, we receive some sort of recognition of being one of the highest one of the institutions with the highest number of recipients in the past 10 years. And so I would say it's definitely a higher percentage than 1/4. So we have every year we have a few students on the Global Internship Program that do receive that scholarship. So definitely apply if you're Pell Grant eligible. All of these scholarships are available on our website. You'll see there's a finance section. I'll show you our website at the very end, but there's a finance section on the menu bar and you can learn about them there. Scholarships usually open up either in late December or early January for most scholarships. For the public affairs, the Glenn Shank Scholarship, Frank and Emily, do you remember when that opens up more or less?
That will open up in the winter quarter, so about I think usually around January, February. I could be wrong, but we will send out information to all public affairs students once the scholarships do open for that scholarship.
Yes,
Perfect.
we also include it in our weekly newsletter, so they'll definitely be able to see it.
Awesome. And then just as a reminder, you can apply for the program. There's no financial commitment until the middle of January, as the video was mentioning, and that's when we'll send out acceptance notifications. I have a quick little video of just past students in Prague this last summer, just a quick day in the life. So I'm going to play, it's just a little over a minute long, and then we'll wrap up here in a second and open Q&A.
Hi guys, come along with me
Sound?
for my first day as UCLA Global Internship Ambassador in Prague. So this morning we had our first orientation that we walked to from our dorms where we were introduced to the program directors and we got our lovely little name tags. This is me and my friend Riley with ours and we were so excited. Then we were all assigned tour guides. Mine was Vitek and he took my group to work. But first he showed us around some beautiful landmarks in Prague on a tram ride there and we had a little group lunch before work to celebrate all of our first days. It was so yummy and then we were dropped off one by one. This is us arriving at the company I was interning for and this was truly the tiniest elevator I have ever been in, but it's okay because we made it. I got to meet my boss who took me and my other fellow intern to the secret garden cafe where we all got to know each other a little bit better before we officially started working. After work, some friends from the program and I went to explore the city and we got an amazing dinner by the Charles Bridge and we ended up getting gelato, which is always a must in Prague. Here is Michaela and her ice cream cone. Then at night, we met up with a couple more students from our program and all sat under the bridge commemorating our first workday in Prague.
So we have a lot of different locations, of course, it's just one experience, but just want to note that these are not just obviously you're focusing on your internship, but it's a great bonding experience with your UCLA cohort, local friends you might make. And so I just want you to know it's not all this work. It's also going to hopefully be just an expansive, experience for you socially, academically, and of course, professionally. There are some students in Cape Town, in Bogota, and actually this is Cape Town as well. 2 Cape Towns on this one. And we had Layla Wheeler this last summer, a public affairs major, interning in Cape Town. Layla said, my internship coworkers and I fostered a deeper bond, extended beyond the workplace, which transformed work into a welcoming, fun atmosphere. I look forward to going to every day. Also having the opportunity to interact with the community was such a fruitful and rewarding experience. You'll see here as well that we have a link I'm going to put in the chat here that is for the upcoming info sessions. So every location that we go to, we do have an info session that you can attend with our on-site partners who are going to be the ones conducting that advising call, as well as have the in-depth information about each program location. So a great opportunity to learn more before you do apply if you're interested. Couple more testimonials from students. So we had Riley this past summer in Prague, interning at the Ministry of Health of the Czech Republic. She said, my global internship experience definitely improved my intercultural communication skills for the future. It also contributed to my interest in pursuing the field of public health. Finally, it showed me the kind of work-life balance I would like in the future. We also had Jocelyn Arroyo, who interned in Buenos Aires with Techo. Says, I was able to develop skills such as qualitative analysis, project evaluation, and auditing that will help further me in future career endeavors. It influenced me in a personal way because it taught me how much I value learning about new cultures and seeing the world from a different perspective. So if you're interested in connecting with past students who have gone abroad, both in terms of public affairs students that might have gone to different locations, or students who have gone to a specific destination, whether they're public affairs or maybe they might be a political science student or a global affairs student, you can go to our website and you'll see student ambassadors, and you can search both by academics and by location. So again, a great opportunity to talk with students who maybe are in your same major, but also a good opportunity, even if you want to go to a location that has a student, let's say that was an engineer or was a political science student, communication student, they still might have some great information just about the day-to-day life there, even if they didn't have a specific public affairs coursework while they were there. And just want to say that we hope you do join us this summer. I'm here to answer any questions throughout the application process. And if you do enroll in the program, I'm there to help guide you along before you do depart, as well as when you are abroad. So feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions in the meantime. I'm going to put our website link here as well. And then what I'm going to do is stop the recording and then open it up to questions. So let me go ahead and stop the recording now, and then we'll open it up for any questions you might have.